Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.
Welcome to the Kiambu edition of the Great Debaters Contest. We continue our focus on the Sustainable Development Goals. I am your host, Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Yumbok. The motion today is highly technical, that countries facing economic disasters should suspend democratic elections and appoint a government of experts. We have Maryhill High School going against Loreto Limuru. And Mariam, what are your opinions?
I think these ladies are fit for the job. We'll let them take the stage now. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
I love democracy. I absolutely love it, actually. It gladdens my heart to know that people have a say in what the country is going through. But a very wise man once said, if we do the same things and expect different results, then we are fools. This is Ivy Cindy Wangashi from Loreto High School, Limuru, strongly proposing the motion that says, countries facing economic disaster should suspend democratic elections and appoint a government of experts. So what is this government of experts? Technocracy. Technocracy is a system of governance where decision makers are selected on the basis of technological knowledge. Democracy is a system of government in which citizens exercise power directly or elect representatives from among themselves to form a governing body, such as a parliament. Let's not go far. Kenya, our beloved nation. This education system was sinking until the knight in shining armor, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, came and took the education sector by storm. Imagine if every single cabinet secretary was like him. Where will this country be? I mean, and I should not be misquoted, we are talking about suspending. Suspending means holding off something till a later time. We are not scraping it off. It will not kill us if we suspend elections, and if we suspend elections, we cannot keep dealing with the failed government when we have a solution at hand. It is worth a try, because countries that have already hit rock bottom, change is inevitable. And Italy conformed to this, as they heaved a sigh of relief when the 3-time minister, Silvio Berlusconi, was being replaced by a technocrat, Marco Monti, a respected economist, hoping that he would bring Italy back from chaos. So what am I saying? Technocracy is not a guaranteed solution, but we should give it a try, because it is well known that democracy is going to lead us nowhere. Technocracy is the only solution that we have as failing countries to get back to the place where we are supposed to be. If this is not the solution, we will keep on hitting rock bottom and we will never rise up to the top. As a very wise person once said, once you have hit rock bottom, there is no other place to go but up. Thank you.
Thank you, Maryhill. We'll hear your opening statements. You have 3 minutes.
Karen Wandia from the Maryhill Girls High School, opposing the motion that states that countries facing economic disasters should suspend democratic elections and appoint a government of experts. Let's understand the motion. Economic disasters. Countries facing economic disasters are characterized by high rates of unemployment, high cost of living, which are caused by high inflation rates and other things. So if at all we suspend democratic elections, we mean that we are going to prevent the process by which citizens of a country are given the mandate to choose their own leader. If we do this, aren't the constitutional rights of the citizens of that particular country being infringed on? Democratic rights. Democracy is the rule of the people, by the people, for the people. Democracy has never been a rule of the people, by other people, for some people. It is a rule of the people. According to a World Forum on Democracy, which was held in 2011, of which 100 countries partook in that discussion, the conclusion that the will of the people is the basis of authority if a government is supposed to govern a country politically and economically. What do I mean? The rights of the citizens should be upheld. The democratic rights should be upheld. In any case, we do not say that the democratic elections should be suspended. We totally disagree with that. We do not want that. What we want is to merge both of them. Come with the government of experts on one side, come with the democratically elected leaders on the other side, merge them together and come up with a sustainable governance to govern a country facing economic disasters. Please get us straight. Let's take an instance of China. China, as of now, is among the superpowers in the world. Do you know which form of governance they partake? I bet you don't. They uphold democracy, whereby citizens themselves get to choose their leaders. And at the same time, they have a government of experts which specialize in economic issues. And that's the reason why China will not now nor never be facing economic disasters, simply because they merge democratic leaders and merge the government of experts. They do not take one. Let's merge of them. Let's merge both of them. Let's not suspend democratic elections. I rest my case.
Thank you. We'll begin rebuttals now. Loreto, Limuru, you have 3 minutes.
Disillusionment of the mind is a most dangerous poison. From the Loreto High School, Limuru is June Hope Wangai, proposing the motion that states countries facing economic disasters should suspend democratic elections and appoint a government of experts. Now, to my very able opposers, you say that democracy should be upheld, that China takes part in democracy and technocracy. Need I interest you that the motion states that countries are facing economic disasters? You said clearly that economic disasters are characterized by high inflation rates. And you also said that democracy leads to rights being upheld. Nigeria, the year is 2015, when you're going into the elections, 14 presidential candidates stood. 318,154,562,000 shillings was used in a span of 2 months to carry out elections. Let me remind you, this is the same time when Nigeria was facing economic crisis due to the fall of their economy. At the particular point, they had a GDP falling to negative 0.36%. So what are you trying to tell us? When the people of Nigeria went through hunger, poverty, how were their rights being upheld? Exactly how? If we appoint a government of experts, they are swift to act. In the year 1919, just after the First World War, when the US and the whole world at large went into the Great Depression, the GDP of USA fell to 15%, but with the help of engineers such as Howard Scott, they sorted out technocracy. USA would have taken 15 years to rise from the Great Depression. It took only 5 years. The technocrats helped USA rise, not only from the economic disaster, but also from the Great Depression of the whole world. We see that out of Howard Scott setting out on technocracy, the Soviet Union, now Russia, started out. And this is where we see that by the year 1930, Russia had risen fair enough to actually go back into the Second World War. Need I interest you that in 1917, Russia had to pull out of the First World War simply because they had no funds. Technocracy is the way to go. Let us also remember that we're just suspending it for the time. It is a time that is needed very fast. This is because the countries which are facing economic disasters have to find a solution, and a solution very fast. So now, how then do we go into elections, use 1 trillion naira as in Nigeria, and still have democracy, and still rise up? Thank you.
Mary Hill, we'll hear your cross-examination. You have 3 minutes.
Well. Understanding is a process that our fellows have lacked to understand. We have talked about democracy being of no help. Let's take an instance of your prefects. Every school has a prefect. What if you're not given the right to vote for the prefect you need? What will happen? Then the principal of your school or the director will choose maybe unworthy leaders, unworthy prefects, prefects that don't even consult you in matters. We are not saying that a government of experts is wrong. No, we are not saying that. Actually, we are saying we should merge both democratic, that is to uphold the rights of the citizens, and to use a government of experts. Because truly, we cannot deny the many benefits of a government of experts. One of the main disasters countries face is unemployment. Unemployment. And I repeat, unemployment. When you talk about unemployment, what about these people who had these elective seats? When they lose their jobs, what will happen to the country? It will lose its source of revenue, because we all know the country gets taxes from the employers, from the employees, I mean. So please, let us not put all our eggs in one tiny basket. And in this case, I think the basket totally has holes. So, would you like these eggs to go falling on the way, to be broken? No, I disagree. The truth is the truth. Even when denied, it still remains to be true. We cannot disagree that countries which is politically unstable, which are economically unstable, have high rates of unemployment. The country needs this revenue to construct roads, to better the education of a country. They need this revenue so that they can improve the health and medical facilities. I don't want to live in a country that does not uphold my democratic rights. I want to grow up. When I'm 18, I want to vote. And that is what I say is democracy. Thank you.
Thank you to the audience for those questions. The proposers have been asked if technocratic leadership will be able to affect all spheres of life and if they will be effective enough. The opposition have been asked to give examples in situations where technocratic leaders were unworthy or ineffective. We'll have them respond to those queries. Third proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Will technocracy affect all spheres of life? Maureen Gaki from the Loreto High School, Limuru, proposing the motion that countries facing economic disasters should suspend democratic elections and appoint a government of experts. Let's not go far. Joseph Kaimenyi, currently the Minister of Lands, right? But he's also a dentist, and he's an expert in it. These experts are people who are appointed by the sitting government. They are specialized in different areas. I want to give an example of Singapore. Now, Singapore is a country which at one stage, it was undergoing economic disaster. Underline disaster, meaning total failure. Catastrophic failure. And where are they right now? They are our role models. The likes of USA, the likes of China also, who decided to take up the government of experts to improve themselves. Now, they say when you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. Who are the Romans in this case? My Romans in this case are countries that have undergone economic disasters. I give the likes of Italy and the likes of Singapore. And right now, they have risen. They are our role models. USA being a superpower. Why is it that I find that these countries have everything that we lack, or everything that we have in small quantities? The best scholars, the best healthcares, the best businesses with the lowest taxes. They are thriving in economic wealth. Don't you want this? Do you want this? Well, I want it, and I want it so bad. This is what experts do. They take you to places that you wouldn't imagine of being. In very little time, the likes of USA, only 2 years with experts to rise. Now, you fear dictatorship, maybe. You fear risking. But if I don't take a risk, I'm no longer a risk taker. I'm considered a coward, right? So if I don't put my risk in experts, if at all you consider having experts as a risk, how will I know how to grow culturally, economically, even politically? How will I know how to grow in these 3 dimensions? Well, be with me. Choose a government of experts. You will never regret. And if you do, you'd rather be a full caged dog than a free and a starving dog. You'd rather be under them. I would rather be under them. Thank you.
Maryhill, let's hear your response. You have 3 minutes.
Frida Njagi from the Maryhill Girls High School. First of all, to the question. Please, sir, kindly wake up. We did not mention anywhere about technocrats, so kindly pay attention. And also, I'd like to correct my dear opponents here. China did not just thrive because they had a government of experts. No, they did not. They thrived because they also held their democratic rights, their constitutional rights. And I'd like to ask you a question. Don't most of you like pilau? I'm sure most of you do. Now, just take plain rice. Plain rice is just, well, plain rice. But if you take the plain rice and add spices, doesn't it make a wonderful meal of pilau? Of course it does. The same way, we should not suspend our democratic elections. Instead, we should merge our democratic elective leaders together with our government of experts. This will raise our economy and sustain it, as well as it will not deny anyone their right, the constitutional right to vote. A very, very good example is the USA. In the year 2008, when President Barack Obama was elected, USA was practically facing an economic disaster. But Barack Obama came up with a government of experts. Now, this government of experts were supposed to jumpstart the economy. They not only jumpstarted the economy, but they also raised it up and sustained it. But did anyone mention anywhere that they did not still hold their constitutional rights? No. They still had the electing of a government of experts did not in any way at all interfere with the democratic constitutional rights of the country. So what I'm trying to say is, instead of here having just a democratic election and just having a government of experts, we should merge the two so that we can thrive economically and politically in our countries. I rest my case. Thank you.
Proposition, you have 1 minute to give your final statement.
In the words of the very great Albert Einstein, he said, "We have to change our minds in solving the problems we used when creating those problems." Have democratic countries not failed us? Have democratic elections not failed us? We are Africans. Has democracy not failed us as an African continent. I can only stand here and solicit so much of your emotions. I can only stand here and speak so greatly of technocracy. Yet, we'll still be going through the same problems we are going through 100 years from now if we do not change. Change is inevitable. Change does not rest. Steve Jobs once said that only those who are crazy enough to change the world are actually the ones who do. I am crazy. We are crazy as Loreto. Join us, be crazy.
Opposition, you have 1 minute as well.
We concede to the fact that understanding is a process that our opponents have definitely proved and failed to internalize into their systems. We are not saying that we should suspend democratic elections. We should not do such a thing. Instead, merge both of them. If we have experts who do not have objectives, then where are they leading us to? Objectives comes from citizens of a country who should be given democratic rights to choose their own leaders. For Pete's sake, democratically elected leaders could be wolves. Government of experts could be wolves. Yes, they could be wolves in sheep's clothing. But what if they have a shepherd who's the citizen of that particular country? By this I mean, let's uphold democratic elections in countries facing economic disasters, as well as have government of experts. We need both of them. Let's make a cocktail of both democracy and expertise. I rest my case.
The question is, did we understand the motion quite well? The motion says countries facing economic disasters should suspend democratic elections and appoint a government of experts. Now, my first question is, what is economic disaster? Number two, which countries are facing economic disaster? There was no mention of even one country from the Maryhill and even from Loreto High School. And I was struggling throughout your presentation to understand an example of a country. Is Kenya facing an economic disaster? That is the take from the audience, yes. Is Somali facing economic disaster? What country can you use as an example? And I think that was very important for you as debaters.
Teams, I think both of you did a splendid job. I highly recommend what you have done, and I want to appreciate the efforts that you've put in. Just like he has mentioned, I also had a couple of questions. I was wondering if you are on either one of the sides, then the question would be, have democratic leaders failed? If you're the other side, then have they succeeded? We needed to hear examples of where that has happened. And like he mentioned also, I felt like when you say merging, you are escaping. You are not really trying to show us why you stand or believe in what you're saying. So try next time not to escape, but actually find facts and reasons why you should support what you're supporting.
A very tight race. Loreto, Limuru High School, you are awarded 69%. Please give them a round of applause. With 1 point difference, Maryhill Girls High School, you were awarded 68%. Our winners are Loreto, Limuru.
Of course, the ladies on stage clearly matched up well against each other. That's why it's such a tight margin. So congratulations to both teams. Thank you to our in-studio audience and those of you at home for watching. Remember, at Great Debaters EA is our Twitter handle. Give us your feedback. I have been your host, Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Nyumbok. Catch you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest is powered by Blaze, by Safaricom, the Youth Network.